Oh boy, what insane bullshit's gonna happen today? I honestly can't wait to find out. Let's get started. We begin with a flashback featuring young Corona, who sees a dog walking down the street, but then a motorcycle gang shows up out of nowhere and heartlessly barrels into the dog, thus instantly killing him. Sadly, this doggo didn't eat his daily bowl of plot armor before he left home, so he actually dies. Corona tries to heal the dog with her magic pills, of which she always seems to have exactly the right type for every situation, but sadly, it's not enough to save his life. She's understandably upset by this turn of events, but then...
Are you like a genius or something?
Bitch, do you have even the slightest modicum of situational awareness? Learn how to read the damn room. She's bawling her eyes out because she just watched a dog get slaughtered by some motorcycling assholes, and you're over here like,
oh my god, you're like totally awesome. When can I start abusing you?
good lord, we're not even halfway done with the show. How am I ever gonna make it through this? Why is this show so obsessed with dedicating all of the screen time to new characters we couldn't possibly care about, and yet somehow proceeding to give exactly zero development to any of them? The strategy didn't exactly work out all that well for Zero Time Dilemma, so I don't know why the hell you think you can pull it off. Anyway, Veruca and Corona used to be besties, but then she became a bitch, and then they started to hate each other. Oh wait, never mind, she was always like that. Jumping back to the present, Nala still wants to eat Pumbaa. This chase began 2 episodes ago and it's still not over yet, fucking hell. And she sees a figure in the distance that resembles the shape of her prey, and so she decides to attack it, but it turns out it was just a decoy. And this decoy was made out of a special alloy? What? Where do you people keep getting all these materials from? Did someone send you a care package? Did you order a supply drop? Is there a secret warehouse of supplies I'm not aware of? How did you make this? When did you find the time to make this when Nala could not possibly have been that far behind you? Anyway, Nala falls for the trap and scratches the hell out of her hand, and so she can no longer harm anyone, but then she injects her emergency backup plot armor that instantly heals her? You have instant healing juice? And you've had it this whole time? Why didn't you try that on the Nutcracker? Why are we only now finding out about this? How did the cast in the first game not find any of this magic healing juice when they were exploring the school? Surely you would have had this stored in your closet somewhere alongside your laxative and performance enhancing drugs, so how did they not find this? Do you have any idea what the implications of introducing magical healing juice into your universe are? The Rise of Skywalker certainly did it, and look how well things turned out for that abysmal film. It's the same thing with this stupid truth serum from the first episode. You keep introducing magic potions that would fundamentally destroy the stakes of the first 2 games, and yet you completely fail to account for that in any way. Does this show have any idea what's going on? Does it know what story it's trying to tell? Do you remember that this is a Danganronpa story? Anyway, boyfriend drops a bunch of swords from the sky, and then we get one of the most laughably baffling lines in anything ever.
I will kill you in the name of deliciousness.
What? Who wrote that? Who put that line into the script and thought it made any sense? How did the voice actor manage to say it out loud without bursting out laughing? Like, I wanted to just sit back and enjoy the intro theme song like usual, but I could not get a hold of myself because of how much I was cackling in disbelief at the cognitive sewage I was being forced to listen to. Moving on, we get a scene between Old Guy and Steel Samurai, and apparently they used to be super cool friends until Despair kicked in and the former became a coward and the latter fell to the dark side. Which, yes, to the second part, but... remember this scene? And this one? How about this one? Yeah, this doesn't exactly scream coward to me. Meanwhile, Makoto is worried about McQueen, but Hina assures him that she is in better shape than both of them. Stop! How? She's not even capable of outrunning you in a V8 powered wheelchair. Actually, no, scratch that. Let me rephrase that. You were able to keep up with a V8 powered vehicle moving at the speed of sound. How the hell do you think she's in better shape than you? You're the ultimate swimmer. Your favorite pastime outside of swimming was working out. You spent every waking moment you had toning your muscles and getting in shape, and you watched your diet like a damn hawk. Remember earlier when you were able to sprint at top speed even with Makoto riding your back? How the fuck could you possibly think she's in better shape than you? Oh, whatever. Matt Spartan charges through the wall because, as we recall, they are made of paper mache in this universe and you could breathe on them and they just collapse instantly. So upon Matt showing up to the party, Makoto tells Hina to run away, but in response she says,
You should know what kind of girl I am by now.
What? What the fuck are you doing? Your secret achievement is to not get hit with a punch or a kick. Are you trying to kill yourself? Alright, look, you want me to give the writers a point? Here we go. Makoto would absolutely prioritize the safety of Hina over himself, and Hina would absolutely put herself through fire and flames to keep Makoto safe. Now here's where you fucked up. This plan is stupid. Why don't you just do what you did earlier and have Makoto hitch a ride so you two can run away? It's one thing to put yourself on the line to protect the people you care about. It's another to make needlessly stupid choices when there are smarter options available to you, some of which you've already done before, and yet you just choose to take advantage of approximately none of them. The girl who can't be punched or kicked challenges Wii Sports final boss Matt to a duel. What the fuck is wrong with you? One mistimed block and you're fucking dead. This plan is moronic. And if you've seen this show before and you know what Matt's secret achievement is, no, that doesn't matter because Hina has no way of knowing that that is what his secret achievement is. With the information she has available to her, this is a dumbass plan. Do we need to go back to the thinking chair?
Let's
think.
No. And if you're gonna say, oh, he's using a weapon, that won't count as a punch or kick, then yeah, you might have a point if she didn't try to taunt him into dropping his weapon and using his fist to fight instead. Oh, you think I'm fucking lying, don't you? No, listen to this dialogue.
So, Mr. Man, you used to be a super high school level boxer, yeah? What's a brick house like you need with weapons?
She's trying to taunt him into dropping his weapon by saying, lol, you're too good to use weapons, which might seem fine ordinarily since a fist is mechanically less dangerous than something as hard as this pipe thing, so you naturally want your opponent to be armed with a less deadly weapon. But punches and kicks are literally her Achilles heel! Even if he is using a weapon, why would you ever risk doing this when you could just flee the scene? What are you doing? Who wrote this? So then the fight begins and we cut back to Boyfriend and Nala's battle because the editors don't know what the fuck they're doing. And it is revealed that Nala can somehow deflect every single projectile tossed her way. What? How are you doing this? Do those pills make you bulletproof too? Did they make your skin impervious to damage from anything? Because that's obviously not true given what happened earlier. So how are you just shaking off these knives as if they're nothing? So Nala's about to kill Boyfriend, but then she smells candy and so she swings across the room like Indiana fucking Jones and finds Veruca hiding in a room surrounded by glass panes. You know the point of hiding is to not be found, right? Sitting around in a room surrounded by entirely transparent surfaces isn't exactly conducive to that goal, you frosty fuck. We then get another series of flashbacks showing off how much of a heartless bitch Veruca was, and then she says,
Ugh, pretty sure I'm coming down with a case of the plague.
You're... What?
I can make you a fast-acting remedy.
A fast-acting remedy for the plague? I don't eat. Oh, what the fuck ever. Let's just move on. I'm so sick of this shit. Does this show know what pacing is? How can you cut from the middle of an action scene to a long-ass flashback scene as if this makes any sense? And it's not like they intercut the flashback with the action for dramatic effect. And it's not like it's a scene with an appropriately paced build-up to justify the flashback. They just stop the show dead in its tracks to remind you of how terrible Veruca is. And you want to know why Veruca thinks she's justified in hating Corona? Let's hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
I was super good at making sweets, and not once did she seem the least bit interested, and still refused to acknowledge my talent.
What? What do you mean she's not acknowledging her talent? She literally can't eat your sweets because it conflicts with the medicine she's on, you moron! As a comparison, if someone's allergic to milk and you offer them an ice cream cone but then they say nah, that doesn't mean they're denying your confectionery talent, you witless banana peel. So then Veruca does the same bullshit she did in the Despair arc last episode and walks backwards in fear, and then instinctively places her hand on a button to do a thing. Only instead of blowing up the building, this time she presses the caps lock key on her keyboard, which then turns on some lights in the room somehow. Why is the caps lock key bound to the fucking lighting controls? What's so special about this room that the lights need to be bound to a computer instead of a normal light switch? But all that pales in comparison to the dumbassery that we're about to witness. So upon turning up the lights, Nala's shadow becomes much more apparent, which causes Veruca to look at her shadow, which then causes her to walk toward her shadow, which then causes Nala to spring away, which then leads Veruca to conclude that her secret achievement is that she can't let anyone step on her shadow? What in the name of Monokuma is happening right now? Who wrote this gelatinous mess of a script? Where do I even begin with this? How the hell is your knee-jerk reaction to the lights coming on, realizing that she can't let anyone step on her shadow? How in the world have you arrived at this insane conclusion? And if you wanted to kill her off, then why would you tell her that you know where the secret achievement is? Why wouldn't you hide the fact that you know? And as for you, why wouldn't you just destroy all the lights in the room? No lights equals no shadow equals no danger. What are you doing? So then Steel Samurai accuses Olgai of being the attacker. No, I'm not kidding. That fucking happens in this dumbass show. He drops Makoto like a hot potato and moves on to a brand new target because fuck you, that's why. Does he just have a wheel in his pocket that he just spins and whoever it lands on is who he declares to be his target of the hour? Whatever, now we're cutting back to Yasuhiro who's still reeing at the building as if there's any chance Makoto can hear you from in there, you fucking tuna sandwich. Then the helicopter teleports back into the scene and so he fucking dies. Oh wait, no he doesn't because these pilots are blind as a bat and can't hit a target 2 fucking feet in front of them. But then it gets worse! So the helicopter launches a missile at Yasuhiro and misses horrendously, some fucking how, which then leads to a single bookcase inside the building getting knocked over at the exact same time Boyfriend happened to be walking by because the show was about to run out of plot. None of the other bookcases toppled. None of the books fell off the shelf. Nothing else in this room was knocked over. Just this one fucking bookcase at this exact moment. kill me. Why couldn't it have fallen a second earlier and we could have been one step closer to ending this nightmare? Turns out he found a secret entrance. Can't wait to find out about that sometime in the next century, but for now, we're cutting back to Nala again. Hey, remember 3 days ago when Hina started fighting this guy? Well, we haven't cut back to them even once since it started. Every single scene that's happened since then has been focused on cardboard cutouts 1, 2, and 3, excluding a single failure of a comic relief scene starring Yasuhiro. So then Veruca delivers her Poirot speech of how she deduced that Nala can't have her shadow stepped on, and it makes no sense at all. Big shocker. She says that she looked panicked when the light came on, which... No, she didn't. She just looked caught off guard, as anyone would if they were in a dark room when it suddenly became bright. You have made one of the largest leaps of logic we have ever seen in this godforsaken franchise, which is really saying something. Oh, but fear not, because Veruca is allowing Nala a chance to live so long as she eats her fucking sweet? Are you fucking kidding me? All this bullshit is because you're still salty she won't eat your stupid candy? Fucking really? You're flirting with Kristoff Gavin level motives here, Danganronpa. Don't go down this path. It does not end well for your script. Now that it's not already in tatters, but regardless, this is a distinction without a difference because she would literally die if she ate that thing.
Okay, I won't kill you. As long as you kill yourself, this plan will solve everything.
Go back to Candyland, you shortcake fuck. Then she immediately abandons this ultimatum and establishes a new one. To survive, Nala must kill the Steel Samurai? What? Since when do you have a hate boner for him? You assholes noodle around all over the place with what you actually want. The person you deem to be your target changes with the fucking wind. Anyway, Nala says nah because apparently the Steel Samurai took her under his wing and nurtured her. Yeah, that happened. Yeah, fuck you, that's why. Ladies and gentlemen, you're not gonna believe me when I say it, but a character is actually about to make an intelligent decision. I know, I didn't believe it either. It seems impossible, but I'm not lying. It's true. Nala is about to make a smart choice. Enjoy while it lasts, everyone. She leaps up and actually smashes all the lights so she won't cast a shadow. Everyone, please, a round of applause. Give it up for Nala for actually sitting down in her thinking chair and not acting like a complete moron. I don't know why this wasn't the first thing you did as soon as the light came on, but hey, at least you did it within a decent amount of time after they came on. It's better than nothing. I'll take it at this point. But then it's immediately ruined because the second after she destroys all the lights, we get another stupid flashback where Veruca has an internal monologue talking about how she really trusted Nala all those years and Nala wanted nothing more than a real friend instead of someone she could use for drugs. No, I'm not kidding. They don't actually say a word to each other. Every single syllable of those monologues where they reveal their true feelings and pour their hearts out to each other is done strictly for the benefit of the audience inside their own heads. They don't say a word to each other the whole time. What are you doing? Why would you not use this opportunity for character development? Have your characters sit down and talk to each other, air out their grievances, get to the heart of the matter instead of just throwing them into a 3-episode long chase scene and then having all their emotions be spelled out via an internal monologue. Who wrote this? Now, I need to warn you to keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the ride at all times for this upcoming scene because it is the purest form of cognitive diarrhea. So Veruca runs away after Nala shatters through the reinforced glass with her bare hands. Only her path of escape just so happens to cross over with Hina, who is still mid-battle with Matt, even though it's been 27 years since we've last seen these characters. And then Nala just completely loses interest in Veruca for some reason and then goes for Matt instead. And upon attacking Wii Sports final boss Matt, the man, mind you, who survived 6 missiles to the face, she is able to knock him to the ground. Awesome. The camera then focuses on Hina's scar line. And then they all sit around on their asses and do nothing for a solid 5 seconds until Monica fucking Towa whips around the corner in her Lightning McQueen wheelchair once again, armed with her missile launchers, back at it again for round 2, shoots another 6 missiles, and they manage to render Nala unconscious! At which point Hina remembers she's super strong and lets Makoto ride her again! What in the flying fuck just happened? How did you break through the glass that's clearly reinforced with your bare hands? How fucking lucky is it that Veruca just so happened to lead you right to where the plot needed you to go? Why did you suddenly stop chasing Veruca? Why would you give even half a shit about what's happening to anybody else? Veruca's the only one who knows your secret achievement, but not only that, she's the one who you clearly harbor a major grudge for thanks to your elementary years, and you have her by the fucking balls! Why are you giving up? Why did you sit around on your asses instead of running away? How are Monica's missiles incapable of knocking out average Joe over here, but are perfectly effective against a steroid-infused lion who is basically indestructible and literally stopped a fucking knife with her teeth? Why didn't you do the piggyback right before the battle even began instead of risking triggering your secret achievement when you ultimately flee the scene anyway? Does anybody actually care about the script, or did you just let a cat dance across the keyboard and then the resulting word salad is what you use for the show? Then we cut back to Blue's Clues, where it turns out Kyoko has found her first clue and needs to go search the building to find the other 2.
I'm the clue. Okay,
I'm the first clue. You know, I've always wanted to be a clue, and I've waited for so long.
No! Next, we jump back to the Steel Samurai accusing Old Guy of being the attacker and explaining his 2 points of reasoning. The first is that the existence of this base is largely unknown to the outside world, which no, it's fucking not. It's a giant-ass tower illuminated by spotlights regularly visited by helicopters that was originally going to serve as an overseas location for Hope's Peak Academy. Literally, how could this possibly stay a secret? And the second point is that there's a very short list of people who'd be capable of restricting so many of their utilities on such a wide scale. Congratulations, you made a single great point. First time for everything, I suppose. Now let me add a point of my own. Yes, this obviously makes him the traitor who's pulling the strings and has set up the killing game, but this does not make him the attacker. He literally could not have gotten into this room. It had to have been a suicide. And since both bodies were killed in the same way and suspended in the same way, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to connect the dots together on top of all the other evidence I presented back in episode 2. So then Old Guy tells him he's not with the Remnants of Despair and he's not the attacker. He tells the Steel Samurai the truth about who the attacker is in this bizarre slow motion shot. I genuinely thought that my Blu-ray disc was busted when I first watched this because of how jarringly awful it was. Well, whatever he said, we won't find out about it for 5 more episodes, so it'll have to remain a mystery, I suppose. Whatever it is, we know it has to be the truth because the secret achievement is that he must always tell the truth. Please remember that for later. But whatever he said was so shocking that it causes the Steel Samurai to lose his collective fucking mind and try to kill the Old Guy, who then pulls the rebar keeping him suspended against the debris out of his chest and uses it to stab him in the eye? What the actual fuck? Fucking how did you do that? That rebar is the thing keeping you from falling to the ground. How did you get the leverage to pull it out of your chest? Not only that, how did you pull it out and then push it forward to stab the Steel Samurai in the eye? How was only his eye damaged? If you were pushing it against him, would it not have just gone straight through his goddamn head? Oh my god, who wrote this? So then he slices the Old Guy in the throat and he dies, thus ending the scene. Then we cut back to Nala, who is completely back to normal now. Woohoo. She has another internal monologue, and then once later, she's dead. She dies in a room all by herself with nobody anywhere remotely near her, and is directly next to a monitor, and suspended in some way, just like the other 2 victims. If you haven't figured out that there's suicides by this point, then I just literally don't know what to tell you. Oh, also, the Steel Samurai injects himself with healing juice or whatever, and then decides he's gonna kill everyone. Woohoo. Despair time! We begin by watching some extras pour trash all over your screen. Oh no, the show is becoming self-aware! But in all seriousness, we're actually about to get a genuine character moment for one of our new additions to the cast. I was actually kind of stunned when it happened because despite all the screen time dedicated to these pieces of cardboard, they put absolutely zero effort into actually developing them up until now. But you know what? It's here. The moment exists, and I'm certainly not going to complain about it. You may recognize this person as John Lasseter from the Future arc. Well, as it turns out, his backstory is actually rather saddening to see unfold. His one true passion in life is anime. Creating it is the one thing that keeps him motivated every day of his life to get out of bed and face the world. And watching it is the one source of comfort he can turn to as a means of escape from reality because for as much as he loves watching anime, his classmates don't quite see things his way. They frown on him for being passionate about it and relentlessly bully him for what he loves, literally dumping garbage cans all over him and photographing the incident for everyone else to see. It gets to the point where he literally has started to leave school early because he can't handle how badly his classmates treat him, and his parents start to worry about whether he'll be so emotionally destroyed that he won't even want to go to school at all anymore. And these experiences as a child are what fuel him to pursue his dream of being an animator, of creating anime for people all around the world to watch and adore, and maybe even serve as inspiration, motivation, or an escape for someone who happens to be in a similar situation as he was. And as the cherry on top, he doesn't even have the time to make what he wants to. There literally are not enough hours in the day. He pours every waking hour he has into his art, and yet there's still not enough time to get it all done when he wants to. And it's all motivated by a passion to create something to be adored by others in an attempt to make them happy. I felt this. On multiple levels. The idea of being looked down upon and harassed or being passionate about nerdy things as opposed to more traditionally accepted extracurricular activities. The idea of being surrounded by people whose only life's purpose is to make everyone around them as miserable as possible and turning to entertainment as a means of escape. And the idea of being inspired by those experiences as a child to create art of your own and share it with the world in the hopes of giving to others what it was able to give to you for so many years. I genuinely began to wonder if I had been watching a different show because for the first time since Makoto and Hina's conversation, it feels like the writers actually cared. Like they actually put in effort to try and make you care about this story. And like they realized they need to do more to craft endearing characters than just throwing them onto the screen and having them monologue for a bit. And it is absolutely worthy of being commended. Sadly, haphazardly tossing in a 1-minute flashback halfway through your season doesn't change the fact that this character, and the new cast as a whole, in fact, is laughably lacking in depth, especially considering what happens with Lasseter at the end of this goddamn show. Oh, I almost forgot. Athena was moved to the Reserve Corps department last episode. Excusing how rushed and nonsensical this transition was, there's actually a lot of potential here. I honestly can't wait to see how she interacts with the Reserve Corps students. Maybe we'll get more scenes between Hajime and Athena, giving them an opportunity to try to understand each other a bit more. Maybe we'll get to see her go on an in-depth investigation on her mission. But no matter what, the bottom line is that episode, we'll definitely get to see how her character is going to change. How being surrounded by these students the Academy looks down upon will change her bubbly persona. How she copes with the loss of not being able to teach her original class anymore, and possibly even ends up taking out some of that sadness in the form of anger on her new class. And just generally speaking, how she's going to be changed as a person during her time in the reserve course. Are you excited to see how they're going to handle all this? Well, guess what? Fuck you! We're skipping right over it. I'm not trying to deceive you. I'm not lying. I'm not telling a funny little joke here. I am not fucking kidding when I tell you this. The writers actually give up. They literally just throw their hands up into the air and go, I don't know, it was hard for her, or something. Fucking lol. Oh, wait, you think I'm fucking lying, right? You think that surely no writer could ever possibly be so incompetent that they throw their character into a drastically new environment that could end up totally changing everything about their personality, only to then completely skip over all of it and jump right back to where we were at the end of the previous episode? Well, no, I'm not lying. This actually fucking happens in this moronic show. Take a listen for yourself.
I'd give you all the gory details about my 6 months with the reserve course, but we'd be here all day.
What? We'd be here all day? Are you kidding me? You have 12 episodes to work with here. What do you mean we'd be here all day? Oh, is it because then you wouldn't have time for all the bullshit the second half of the season is gonna throw my way? Well, if that's the case, then I have a brilliant idea. How about you cut out all this bullshit you forced me to sit through and spend more time developing the characters instead? Or maybe you should have just told your story in a medium that isn't limited by the arbitrary time limit of a television show. It's almost like this should have been a video game or something like that. I could not have made this up if I tried. Like, if I had to invent a bad story to use as an example to prove a point about something, there's no way I ever could have come up with this shit. Athena just says that her time as a reserve course teacher was the most terrible, horrible, no good, very bad thing in the world. And then we skip ahead 6 fucking months after her banishment is already over, and we just continue on like it's all totally normal. Imagine if they pulled this shit in Suits. Just had the finale of season 5 and then cut out all of season 6 and just jumped ahead midway through the season. Fucking imagine. Oh, and you know how Athena was on her super secret mission to learn where the reserve course funds were going? We don't even get to see that! We see her be reminded of her mission, proceed to do absolutely fuck all for 4 episodes, bypass the entire investigation, and then 6 months later she already knows all about the Kamakura project and that it's where the tuition is going. I am not yanking your chain, this actually happens. No investigation scenes, no interrogations, no clues, no mystery solving, no dramatic reveal of the project for Athena, no assistance from any employees, nothing. She just walks through the doors of the school, and then half a fucking year goes by, and she knows everything with absolutely nothing in between to bridge this enormous gap. It's a complete joke. Fuck the hell off, you dumbass show. But you know what makes this all even worse? After telling Matt all about the fruits of her efforts, we get a scene in the principal's office where Athena is just handed her original teaching job back on a silver platter. What the fuck was the point of any of this? Why did you bother sending Athena to the reserve course department if you were just gonna undo it all literally 1 episode later as if it never happened in the first place? We literally just exposition dumped our way through 6 months of plot and character development and then pulled an Uno reverse card to undo the events of the last Despair episode because the writers just don't care about their story anymore. Fuck the hell off, you dumbass show. Who wrote this sludge of a script? The only solitary thing that stands to affect the remainder of the show that wasn't undone is the fact that Nagito is still suspended and that apparently nobody has any idea where he is. Which, as far as I'm concerned, is a win for society. But even that isn't gonna last because Ray then says,
"He's been trying to lift that suspension for a while."
Great, you're even gonna nullify Nagito's suspension. How wonderful. Wait, hang on, he's been trying to lift the suspension? What do you mean trying to lift it? He's the principal! Nobody's standing in his way. He has complete control over who is suspended and who isn't. Fucking hell, dude. Next, Ray jerked himself off over how awesome the upcoming students are and oh wow, look who it is. Just gotta beat you over the head with that nostalgia. Like our show, damn it! Athena runs back to the classroom and she assumes her students have already forgotten all about her because she has as much faith in their memory as the writers have in yours. Then she overcomes her fears because she doesn't want the Steel Samurai to think she's an idiot. No, I'm not exaggerating, that's actual dialogue from the show. Then she gets embarrassed with saying out loud that she's the Steel Samurai's future beloved, and then she says,
Damn the torpedoes!
who wrote this fucking dialogue? So then she goes inside and it turns out her students didn't forget about her and wait, they had a surprise party ready to go? Complete with a full buffet and decorations? What the fuck? How? How could you possibly have prepared all this when Athena herself only found out about her being allowed to return to the main course 2 seconds ago? Jackie says she overheard Ray talking about it. Apparently. He apparently spoke out loud about the exact date he planned on Athena returning to the school, and yet somehow they didn't bring this up to Athena herself until literally the exact same day they wanted her to return. And apparently he had this conversation outside of his office to allow Chiaki to overhear him. Woohoo. Also, who was teaching you during the 6 months she was gone? Apparently Chiaki was the glue that held the class together, which, I mean, I can understand it from a morale perspective because it's biologically impossible to be in the same room as this person and not immediately feel an overwhelming sense of hope that there are still intelligent and compassionate people in the world. But who was actually teaching you? Who came to class every day and helped you all refine your skills as ultimates and teach lessons? Ray was relegated solely to the scouting department, so who did they get to replace Athena? Are you even gonna try to address that? Maybe showcase how much more miserable the students are with this hypothetical new teacher instead of skipping past it all? Seriously, the decision to just completely skip over 6 months and then revert things back to the way they were with no consequences destroys so much about this scenario. And you cooked steak for breakfast? What? So then Kazuichi gets some dialogue. Let's see what insightful commentary he has to offer.
Yeah, get high!
Wait, what did you just say?
Yeah, get high!
I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah, get high!
Smoke weed every day.
Who wrote this fucking dialogue? Did anybody look over the script before they submitted it? Was there any kind of a review process? Or did they just let the writer crap out whatever they wanted? Because I'm genuinely starting to think that that's how this series writes its scripts given some of the indefensibly disgusting shit we've suffered through so far. So then Chiaki tells Athena that her being back is the reason why this feels like a party, and my heart! I can't. This person is a bundle of hope against a sea of despair. But before you can actually get swept up in the emotion of that line, this sound effect plays. Anyway, Hyoko grew up and she's thrilled about this because it means that now she has the strength to tie Mikan up like a pretzel.
I'm finally strong enough to tie Sumiki's body into a big crybaby pretzel. What did I ever do to you, Saionji?
This is actual dialogue from the show. I didn't edit that at all. Somebody actually wrote that. So then Tanaka does Tanaka things, but it is sadly revealed that Sonya has fallen to the side of insanity and is now just as off her rocker as he is, and then they...
No delay! Don't tell me you're in sync now!
Moving on, we're jumping back to the story of John Lasseter and his journey to become the ultimate animator, and it is here when it is revealed that there are actually 2 versions of the same person. Lasseter himself, who sits at home all day every day working non-stop to create his animations, and Among Us, who impersonates him and takes care of his life outside the house by attending his classes and making friends. No, you did not mishear me. Let me say that again. Among Us is not trying to impersonate Bakuya Togami. He is trying to impersonate John Lasseter. Can you think of any glaring contradictions with that sentiment? Anybody? Gee, it almost seems like he didn't fucking exist when they wrote the second game and now they've invented some straight up bullshit for the grand finale. Is there anybody on this team working in continuity? Did any of you actually play these fucking games? Anyway, Lasseter is grinding away at the computer working to make his animation the best it can be, but Among Us is mildly concerned about his health and encourages him to take a break for food, and then we get some dialogue, and then it's just...
People flake out and let you down, but carbs are always there.
What the fuck? Did anybody reread that line before they submitted it? Did the voice actor not read that and go, wait a minute? Did none of you fuckers see a problem with this? You can't rely on other people, but you can always rely on food as a crutch. What a phenomenal lesson to teach your viewers that definitely won't lead to any negative health effects, you oversized coffee grinder. So then Among Us fucks off and talks about how John Lasseter's work habits are gonna end up. Wait a minute, why does this kid get a face? Every non-plot relevant background extra in this show is deliberately shown without a face, likely to save time and money, but this little shit is allowed to have one? Why? It's not like he ever shows up again. What is the thought process here? But sadly, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of The Innocents. We have reached the end of the part of the show where we can have fun criticizing it. Up until this point, we've been faced with Spider-Man, jumping trucks and indestructible characters, giant doggos, school explosions that don't kill even a single person, and a cavalcade of other insanely stupid things you just can't help but laugh at. With a couple exceptions, such as these scenes, the majority of the problems with the Despair arc have been things that are so absolutely ludicrous that I absolutely could not contain my laughter, and if nothing else, there was a sort of entertainment factor to be had there. But not anymore. This show is about to take a drastic turn for the worse as a new pair of characters show up to mix things up a little and bring about an onslaught of torturous nightmares, incompetent scenarios, and above all else, an ultimate tidal wave of despair. As the title of this episode indicates, it's the beginning of the end. So as Among Us fucks off to who knows where, we get a shot showcasing the plane flying in overhead and coming in for a landing. All while a taxi pulls up to the airport, ready to pick up our new visitor, and the passenger in the taxi starts speaking with this voice.
Thank you so much. And keep the change, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Junko Enoshima has arrived on set, and based on that information, it doesn't take too much brain power to figure out who's on that plane. Let's take a look at Junko's first scene. So Junko rolls up to the airport to pick up her sister and then tosses her purse into the back seat, telling the cab driver to keep the change. The driver then says,
Wow, must be my lucky day.
She walks away from the cab toward the airport, waits for the car to drive away onto the highway, then pushes a button which causes her purse to explode, thus destroying the car. What in the flying fuck? fuck? Where do I even begin? 1. The only reason this plan works is because the cab driver is a greedy son of a bitch who is willing to accept his passenger's entire purse as payment. Any responsible cab driver would never, ever let her do this. It's one thing to be told to keep the change after being handed a $15 for a trip that costs $14.21, because at that point the difference is so minuscule that it's ultimately just not worth the effort. It would be easier for her to just hand you a 5 and a 10, and it's easier for you to not go digging around for quarters and pennies to split the difference. But this lady handed you her entire goddamn purse. If she got a cab driver that had any kind of a moral compass, her plan to blow him up would have failed instantly. 2. What is the range on this thing? You waited until he was already speeding down the highway to push the fucking button. How did this thing still work? Cars 2 did this shit better than you. Fucking Cars 2! Finally, why in the name of Monokuma would you ever do this? Your plan is to spread despair throughout the world. Blowing up one little car isn't gonna do that. Why did you bother? Why even risk the possibility that this can get tied back to you and lead to your arrest, thus ruining your entire plan? And how is this even satisfactory to you? Your entire motivation is that you just want to watch the world burn. And I mean that in a very literal sense. She derives pleasure and satisfaction from physically witnessing people succumb to despair. It's why she broadcast the original Killing Game for all the world to see. If you were to tell her a school bus crashed into the river and all the kids died, she'd be like, meh. But if she were in a position to have actually watched that school bus crash, she'd be overwhelmed with satisfaction. Almost like they wrote the scene to give the audience a sense of, oh my god, it's Juko, she's here to fuck shit up, yeah! Instead of her actually doing something in line with her character. You not only butchered the logical coherence of this scene, but you couldn't even get the character motivations for doing it in the first place right. Who wrote this dumbassery? Also, why do you even need to be here at all? You clearly aren't driving her home, since if you were, you'd have just driven here in your car instead of taking a cab to the airport. So if your plan is just to go home in a cab anyway, then why on earth do you physically need to be here? But also, if that's your plan, then why did you destroy the cab? Why not keep him around while you wait for your sister to show up? It's not like you have a limo waiting around the corner to take you home. Oh wait, you do! You do have a limo waiting around the corner. So then what the fuck was the point of the cab? What is happening in this scene? Who wrote the script? Anyway, Junko narrates her evil plan to rule the world and is self-aware about it. Then there's this scene where Junko is mercilessly trying to stab her sister in the face, and I don't, what the fuck is going on? What is this shit? She's casually trying to murder her sister and she's just totally fine with it? And they're just having a serious conversation in the background while this is happening. Like, completely 100% serious dialogue that they want you to pay attention to all while this insanity is unfolding. But then, fucking then, Junko throws a grenade inside their car, Mukuro kicks it up with her foot, catches it in her wine glass, they're in high school by the way, like a fucking ball in a cup, and then dumps it out onto the highway, which then causes a massive explosion! No, I'm not kidding. I'm not lying to you. This is real. This actually happens in the show. I don't... Why? Why would you ever do this? What if you were caught up in the blast radius of the grenade and you were killed in the process? What if the explosion caused the car to flip forward and crash into your limo? Actually, how didn't that happen? How did this not become a major accident? You threw a fucking grenade under a car! This would have made the news! This would have been a major deal! How could you possibly think that no one would have noticed what you did? Did none of the other drivers care? Did nobody driving next to you see you throw a grenade out the damn window? Did no CCTV cameras pick you up? Did nobody hear the goddamn grenade go off or feel the earth shake? What the fuck are you doing? You could have completely fucked over your whole plan for world domination with these 2 actions alone, and quite frankly, you should have been caught for at least one of them. There is absolutely no reason why you should have been able to get away with this. And in case I haven't been clear about this yet, let me repeat myself. Junko and Oshima would never do this. This is completely contradicted to the character that we came to know and despise, for one reason or another, over the course of the games. The girl who lived to see the world succumb to despair would not blow up a random cab she couldn't be a spectator of, and just casually toss around a grenade without a care in the world for who gets killed as a result. You fuckers have absolutely no idea what you're doing with the script. Please give it to someone else who knows what they're doing before you hurt yourself. Then, fucking then, Mukuro asks,
Anyway, why did you want me here in the first place, Junko?
you don't even know why you're here? You just agreed to jump on a plane and fly down to see your sister without even having the slightest clue why? What? And hold on a minute, how could Junko not have told her why she needed to be here? She is here so they can attend Hope Speak Academy, a school that you live at, with dormitories. In other words, Mukuro would have to completely relocate her life to this town, and there is no fucking way she packed appropriately for the occasion. If you were flying in to visit your family or friend for a bit, would you pack with the expectation that you'd be living there permanently as soon as you landed? No, you fucking would not. How can you even be enrolled in the academy without knowing it? They would have to scout you out. They would have had to have an interaction with you. How are you surprised by any of this? What is happening anymore? Who wrote this script? Moving on, we cut back to John Lasseter working on his animation, intercut with a flashback showcasing more instances of bullying as well as his early seeds of talent. but it is clear to everyone in the room that Lasseter is pushing himself way too hard and he's more than likely going to end up passing out at some point, if not worse. Among Us actually points this out, believe it or not. I will award a point for a character realizing what's happening and trying to do something about it. But I'm also going to immediately retract that point because 2 seconds after this interaction takes place, John Lasseter faints, collapsing onto the ground. And I shit you not, Among Us is stunned by this turn of events. He has no fucking clue what to do. He just stands there like a useless bag of jelly, like, dude, what do I do? I don't know, maybe try to elevate the legs to get blood flowing to his head. Maybe loosen his collar to make it easier for him to breathe. Maybe try CPR if he's not breathing. Or, I don't know, maybe fucking call 911? These are all great choices for the situation at hand, so I can't wait to see which one of them he picks. He decides to kidnap Mikan and make her fix him? What the fuck is wrong with you? Let me make this crystal clear so we're on the same page here. You left a man who just fainted on the floor entirely by himself, ran on foot to Hope's Peak Academy, and then kidnapped Mikan and told her, fix it, Felix! I don't even know where to begin with stuff like this. Why would you leave the room? Why would you leave someone who just fell unconscious completely unattended to? What if he stopped breathing while you were gone? What if she wasn't at school when you went to go find her? What if she was on campus but you couldn't find her in time? Why didn't you just run through basic common sense things to help him? And if you were too stupid to solve this problem on your own, then why not just bring him to the emergency room? What is this dumbass plan? Oh, also, I'm kind of burying the lead here. You kidnapped her! Why would you not just say, hey, my friend's dying, please help? Why would you not have just been able to call her? Do you not have her phone number? And if not, why? Are you not friends with Mikan? Aren't you all a tight-knit group of best friends now? Hey, question, did nobody see him do this? No one was like, hey, there's a weird dude carrying a high school girl over his shoulder that's literally screaming and begging for help. Maybe we should do something? Nobody? Really? Did you just so happen to do this at a time when campus is completely unpopulated for some reason? Or is everyone in the world just some kind of asshole? Also, it doesn't matter what reason you want to kidnap her for, you've scarred her for life. If you were Mikan, and some dude walked up to you, grabbed you, and hoisted you over his shoulder saying,
You're coming with me. I need you right now.
What would you assume was about to happen to you? Because if it were me, I'd assume I was either about to be tortured or killed or raped or who the fuck knows what else. Just ask her for help like a normal person, you brainless mushroom. So then Mikan does common sense things that anyone with a functioning brain would have done, and as a reward, Among Us reveals the truth behind their relationship and how he came to become John Lasseter's imposter, and it seems like we might be returning to a sense of what can be considered normal for this show. But then, because the crazy train just doesn't stop, Mikan is terrified that the imposter is going to claim her as his next victim, and when she is assured that he won't kill her, she says...
Then this is the part where I show how grateful I am. It's just, I've never done this sort of thing before.
What? What the fuck are you doing, you shit-stained finger painting of a TV show? And then, she starts twerking again! As if we didn't get enough of this shit in Danganronpa 2.5. Is anybody actually out there? Can anyone hear me? Is there an actual human being writing this script, or did you just throw a fucking bird at the typewriter? What the fuck is going on anymore? Anyway, we get a scene where Makoto stands in front of Hope's Peak Academy as he prepares for his first day of school with this music playing in the background. They're just beating you over the head with that nostalgia until you trick yourself into liking it. Feel that nostalgia, damn it! All the while, Junko and Mukuro are apparently standing right behind him, and Junko is narrating his entrance into the school because tonal consistency is not something Danganronpa knows how to do. To conclude the episode, the Izuru Kamakura project begins, and thus a demon is born, and I just want to punch something because I'm reminded of how the circumstances leading up to Hajime's decision make absolutely no sense at all. But you know what? At least the episode's over now, so that's something, at least. My blood pressure can't take this shit, man. Excuse me while I go watch Manifest for a little bit, because for as terrible as that show is, it's still a million times better than this garbage. My god, it's so stupid. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all again in a few days for my episode 6 coverage, at which point, hopefully the writing will have gotten a little bit better. Oh, who am I fucking kidding? That's never gonna happen. Goodbye!